Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy Do Podcasting.
In this episode, painting wind turbines, ribbing around the UK, square waves, American snacks, and whale or dolphin, you decide.
Now, Lippy.
Hello.
It's my birthday today.
Oh my God, don't. I was like, no, it's definitely not, but it will be, yes.
It will be when this goes out, yes.
Oh, the panic.
Well, I don't require anything.
No.
I've got to an age where I just don't really care anymore about birthdays.
No, a nice meal with the fam.
Well, a nice meal.
Oh, I won't come then.
I think Wife and Grumpy's planning a vegan extravaganza.
Oh, is she now? Interesting.
Yeah,
That's
what are we
interesting, because Duck Boy's diet is meat and veg, so...
Oh, well, it's the veg bit.
Yeah, veg.
That's all right.
Easy.
Oh, it's perfect without the meat, but I guess there will be a meat-based accompaniment.
Maybe we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
We'll wait and see what comes out. Anyway, the last episode, I think I made a bit of a boo-boo when we were talking about Doom, and I gave a Twitter feed for things that Doom will run on, and I called it Can It Run Zoom, which of course is wrong.
No.
It's Can It Run Doom.
Can it run Doom?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think... Zoom would be quite hard for it to run.
Well, Zoom's interesting, because Zoom is obviously the name of the teleconferencing app that we all love and hate in equal measures. But it's also the name on our portable equipment as well. So it's two different companies. So it does get confusing.
Yes.
Anyway, so apologies for that if you're hunting down odd things that teleconferencing can run on. And you said to me about an advert you'd seen for Spreadsheet recently.
Yes.
Which, by some chance, and I probably should have bought a lottery ticket last week, I managed to find. And it was back from the 90s. And it was typically 90s when you look at the suits and the hair.
Yeah.
And it was exactly as you said. It was two chaps on the left, one of them panicking and the other one working on what is a very clunky computer.
It really was, wasn't it?
Really very, very clunky. As they were in 1992 when this was released. So, so if you search on YouTube for Introduction to Microsoft Excel 1992, you'll find the lift incident. And, definitely suits of that age.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Feels very 90s when you're watching it.
It doesn't seem that long ago, though. That's the thing.
Over 26 years ago.
Yeah, so probably the last suit I bought was about then. Certainly the last suit for work. I haven't worn one in a very long time. Now, I saw Davros last week at a Lions meeting. I did, and I'd kept a copy of Private Eye from some months back, which had a cartoon about Daleks in it, and I know how much he loves Daleks, being the creator of all such things. Anyway, he's very surreptitiously passed me this folder full of his prized cartoons, which I've been looking at, but I'd be very careful not to have any drinks or any food anywhere near it.
Yes, and very clean hands. And
very clean hands and no chance of spilling anything on it whatsoever. So I'm working my way through those and having a bit of a titter, as they say. So,
a bit of a titter.
Yeah, a bit of a titter. So, Davros, if you're listening, thank you very much. You will get them back in the same condition they were passed over in. And I will keep an eye out for suitable Private Eye cartoons to add to your collection. Now, you contacted me during the week to say something about a Newsbeat report.
I did, yes.
And I know nothing about this, unless you've told me and I've forgotten.
I've told you and you've forgotten.
Okay.
When I drive home from work, is the 6 o'clock one that I always catch. It's normally the first thing I hit that's on the radio when I get into the car. And it really did give me a giggle on the way home this time. So obviously they were talking about petrol prices, which is obviously a key subject at the moment, I think, for most news stations.
Yes, I think it is.
And they had done a bit on, they were asking people to text in to say what was the most expensive petrol they'd seen on their travels around. And these days on Radio 1, I don't know if it's the same on other radio stations, but on Radio 1, they get people to do voice notes so you can hear the people talking rather than just reading out messages. So it was going through and some people were saying some different numbers. And then one guy goes, I passed one the other day and it was £204 and 90 pence. And I was like, I just burst out laughing because it really made me giggle because I thought that for so long. I just didn't understand petrol pricing. It wasn't that I thought it was hundreds. I just didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. And it did take me a very long time to realise it was in pence. So it's actually like £1.84, but all in pence.
Yes, if it was £204, it would cost £12,240 to fill up a 60-litre tank.
Yes, definitely. But that wasn't the only part of this Newsbeat that was confusing. There was a lady who came on that was explaining how it's affected her or how much fuel it has gone up by saying the following. I fill up £30 a day, so it's costing me between £150 and £200 a week. In the pandemic, it only used to cost me £90 to fill my tank. That's not equal measurements.
No, you're comparing apples with pears there.
Yeah, so she could still be spending £30 a day on petrol, but just filling up her tank once to £90. It really confused me. It wasn't a correlating example.
The maths doesn't make any sense in that whatsoever.
At the start, she's talking about how much in pounds she's filling up. Anyway, I can't even work it out, to be honest with you, actually.
No, I'm not. Well, if she only puts £30 at each visit.
Well, she was saying if she fills up £30 a day.
Did she say what she did for a living?
Something in a van.
Okay, so presumably it's a variable mileage per day. I don't know.
It wasn't relatable.
Well, what is the point? I mean,
exactly.
Is she trying to argue that petrol prices aren't high?
Yeah, I don't know. Or too high, which they are. But you still don't know, do you? Because you don't know how far that £90 got her.
But what's the point? She doesn't seem to be making any sort of point, invalid or not, just that she puts £30 a day in her van. But,
yeah, and it used to be £90 to fill up the whole tank.
And it's now only £30.
Well, I don't think, doesn't make sense.
I think statistically you call that an outlier.
Yeah. Or a numpty.
It does cross my mind, though, that it's a bit negative. What is the most expensive petrol you found? Surely, as a broadcasting corporation, they should be finding the cheapest petrol. Yeah.
And I still have a sneaky little cheapy one near where I work in Reading at the Tesco.
I'd be very careful with cheapy ones. I think
it's
may
not
have
cheap.
said this before.
It's
relatively cheap. Yeah, slightly cheaper.
178 pence.
Yes, you see, we're in 190 at the moment.
So we're not even that high. We're 183 at the end of our road.
But that's a small petrol station, so they pay the spot price on delivery. And the problem is when the price goes up and the tanker comes in, it takes them much longer to shift that petrol because people tend to buy it elsewhere. But I've got a contact that puts very cheap diesel in a car, and it ran dreadfully for until the tank was empty and filled up with some expensive
proper
diesel.
One, yeah.
So cheap diesel isn't necessarily worth it, to be honest.
No.
Now, we've talked about cryptocurrency and bitcoins in the past, and I know Duck Boy is a bit of a fan of them. And I think
not so much anymore.
No, well, they've been going up and down like a yo-yo.
He sold all of his quite a couple of months ago, just before the big dip, but forgot to tell me to sell mine.
I'd hang on, they'll go back up again.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I've lost about £90, so there's no point taking it out now.
Yeah, because I add a little bit every month, and I'm continuing to do that with Bitcoin. I've stopped doing it with Tezos, because that really was all over the place. Anyway, so a Bitcoin family who basically turned all of their capital into Bitcoins some years ago, and they are now emigrating to Portugal because it has a 0% tax on cryptocurrencies.
Interesting.
So they've been able to spend the last 5 years travelling to 40 different countries based on the increase in their Bitcoin holding. And so they're going to settle in Portugal because they don't tax them.
And Portugal's a nice place to settle.
It's a very nice place. They're very welcome in Portugal. I remember when there was obviously there's been a lot of angst around us leaving the EU, and they're quite keen to continue to offer golfing trips to the Brits.
Yes, they are.
So they made it a lot easier for us to come here, which I thought was very sensible, really, instead of arguing, just make it easier for them. So if you've got a shed load of bitcoins, when they go back up in value, then Portugal's the place to go.
Nice.
Now, we're a bit of a fan of generating electricity without using fossil fuels.
Yes,
possible.
yeah.
But
as everyone should be.
Well, as they should be, but not everybody, and for various reasons. One of the things about wind turbines is that they confuse the birds and they fly into the blades and they get chopped in half.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, quite.
It's a bit traumatic.
But it does happen because they just can't see it. When you think we paint them so they're not obvious in the sky, then birds who will quite happily fly full pelt into a window,
yes,
and fall down chimneys, it's not beyond comprehension that they would fly into a wind turbine. So in Norway, they changed the colour of one of the blades. Bearing in mind these are normally three-bladed windmills. Changed one of them from white to black, and it's resulted in a 70% drop in the number of bird deaths, which is very simple.
Very simple, but I guess it just breaks up the movement.
Yes, well, they can see something's not right there.
And avoid it.
And presumably they avoid it. So I don't know what would happen if you painted them all black, whether you get that number down even further. Yeah, so I thought that was very good. So I'd like to see more of that, please.
More one-winged black turbines.
Or painted them black. But then somebody else will complain because it's affecting their view, so you can't win with this sort of stuff.
Yes, no. Vicious cycle.
Yes, and talking of which, there's permissions been granted for exploratory drilling near us for gas.
Oh, no.
Well, the problem is that we all use gas. And interestingly, walking past a new development last week, spotted that none of them had solar panels on the roof. So new developments they're not required to make any effort at the moment to reduce our demands on electricity and gas. If we're going to continue and use it and not have countries that invade other countries supplying us with gas, then we've got to find it elsewhere. It really is as simple as that. And whilst I would much rather have alternative energy sources, apparently you can burn grass to make, or do something with grass to make gas.
Interesting.
Feed
it to a cow and then catch the farts.
Well, possibly. But you've still then got to have grass growing on a field that maybe you should be growing food on. So it's, as Al Murray would say, it's a lot more complicated than that, and these things tend to be.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so the conversation we had here was, well, they shouldn't be doing it. Well, maybe we should. And I know we should be perhaps having other forms of generating electricity like wind and sea. Sea would be a good one because it's constant.
Yeah.
But that takes time to get into place. The next big thing we've got is no fossil fuel only vehicles in a couple of years. So there's more demand for electricity. Anyway, I'm getting off a soapbox now.
Yeah.
That's it. But it's a bit of NIMBYism, I think, there. So I heard this on another podcast, one of my favourites, Sniff and Smith. And it was a throwaway comment about somebody's house being sold without his knowledge. And there's an article in the Metro from November last year of a gentleman who was working away in Wales and got a phone call from his neighbours saying somebody was in the house. Got back to his house in Luton and found that it had been stripped of all the belongings and building work was taking place. And the shocked house owner was ordered to get out by the new owner's father, who told him, "You're trespassing." So it turns out that his identity, so the guy who owned the house originally, his identity had been stolen.
Oh my God.
And they managed to sell his house and pocketed £141,000. It is utterly, utterly mad.
And what do you do in that situation? Because it's neither of the people's fault.
No, exactly. It's a bit like when you inadvertently buy a stolen car.
Yeah.
But
more dramatic because it's actually someone's home that they live in.
Considerably. So the police told him initially that no fraud had been committed as the land registry documentation showed the new owner's name, and that it was a civil matter. It's just not very helpful.
I wonder what they did with all his stuff.
I don't know.
Mad. Oh, God, that would be the worst thing ever, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Also, though, that means that couple probably bought the house without viewing it.
I don't know. Maybe the scammer got keys somehow, broke in.
Mad.
Changed a lot. Depends, I suppose, how long he'd been working away from. Poor other. Oh, so it's been covered by Radio 4 You and Yours. And You and Yours discovered a driving licence had been used to impersonate the owner, and a bank account was set up in his name.
Is that all you need to set up a bank account and it's a driving licence?
I've set a few digital ones up, and you have to do a recording. And normally you show your driving licence, and presumably they look at the photo on there, but it's a photo of the driving licence. Whether you could doctor it, I don't know. Yeah, so the land registry said very small number of fraudulent transactions were registered each year despite their efforts, and a total of £3.5 million was paid to victims of fraud by the government department last year. So it's obviously, it goes on.
Well, does that mean that he'll get the money to buy a new house?
That's a very good question.
Like, or money to the value of his house? Or, because, like,
well,
he obviously wasn't ready to move out.
Well, no, but presumably any mortgage was paid off out of that. Because the solicitor, the buyer's solicitor... Oh, no, actually, maybe not. But there would have been a charge on the house from the mortgage people. So it would have had to have been paid for them to release the title, I think.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not a conveyancing solicitor.
Confusing.
But because they used to hold on to the house deeds, but I don't think that happens anymore. Or at least I hope not, because we're going through the process selling my mum's house and we can't find them.
Oh,
Bit
no.
of a worry. But I have to burn it down for the insurance money.
Yeah. Oh, no, you can't say that on a podcast. They'll find it.
Well, no.
Take that.
7 people that are listening.
Yeah.
And they're all in Kuala Lumpur or somewhere. Oh, no, Ghana, wasn't it?
Ghana.
Now, a friend of mine who watches a lot of YouTube videos, mostly on gardening and historic things, it has to be said, sent me a link to this chap called Harry Dyer, who is going round the UK in a 4-metre rib, which is not very big.
No. Or it's very
big at
stable by the sounds of it.
Oh, it's very stable. It's because it's got a hull. It is quite stable. It's not as stable as a bigger one, but more stable than a completely inflatable boat. Anyway, so I started watching it, and I was intrigued because he was coming out of Aberystwyth, where the Horse Whisperer went to university.
Yes.
So it's an area we know quite well, and really enjoyed the time we were there. And I thought, I wonder why he's doing this. So anyway, this I think was number 12. So I thought, well, there's obviously another 11 beforehand, which there was. And then there's the story of how he got the boat. So he's got it's a mid to late 70s boat that was on a lightship that a mate of his was restoring as a house. So he said to his mate, what are you doing with the boat? And he went, no, I'm going to get rid of it. He said, well, can I take it? And it was in a poor state.
Yeah.
So he's taken that and he's restored all the tubes, got all those working, got the engine running sweetly, done lots of repairs, added a whole load of electronic kit on it. And obviously at the point where he said, can I have the boat, the idea of going around the UK was already festering in his mind.
Yes, yeah.
Because he talks about it from right from the off. So he starts in London. I think he lives in London. And the guy is a film director and a stop frame animator, which you see quite a lot of. So the production qualities of these videos is just superb. And he uses a lot of drone footage as well.
Yeah.
So you get this brilliant, and he seems to only do it in nice weather, these brilliant big vistas of him going across the sea with doing very dramatic drone footage. So if you like a bit of boating, or you like a bit of history, because as he's going around, he's pointing out things on the shore that you possibly wouldn't see from the land.
Oh,
so
interesting.
certainly around Wales, there's some odd little buildings, and they stop in the most amazing places. They camp overnight on the Isle of Wight, go to the Scilly Isles, which I've never been to. Which are
The Scilly
gorgeous.
Isles?
Scilly Isles, they're off Land's End.
I did not even know they existed.
Yeah, and it's a archipelago, as they call it. So it's a set of islands, and the water was just glorious colour. It's somewhere that I will go to because it just looks so good. Not sure I'm going to go in a 4-metre rib.
No, I'd probably go in a slightly bigger boat.
Yeah, the problem with this series for me is I'm watching it thinking, we've got an inflatable boat, which is a very, very similar story where I think it was a diving club were throwing it out. So a mate of mine got it, used it for a couple of years, then bought a big rib, and he said, I'm going to take it to the dump. Do you want it? Yeah, I'll take it. So you have to pump it up mid-journey because there's a few holes in it, but that's all fixable. And it's sort of been on my mind that maybe that's a good project. Get that out and get that going again.
Get it fixed over the summer.
Yeah, get it fixed and then go and do some, not all the way around the UK. But
no, but some little trips out to places.
Trips. Chichester Harbour's quite nice because it's big and it's, if you don't go too far, it's quite calm as well. So I think I might be doing a bit of that.
Bit of boating action.
Bit of boating should be quite nice. But if you want to watch it, if you search for Harry Dwyer, and his surname's Dwyer, he's a very charismatic chap. Yeah. The only thing I would say that he probably ought to keep a fire extinguisher when he works on the engine, as there is an incident. And
my God! Okay.
Yeah, and it is terrifying. Really, really quite terrified. But all was okay in the end, just a bit of burnt wiring and tubing. But,
God, was he in the boat, though, at the time? Like, moving?
No, he was trying to fix a problem with the engine, create a fuel leak, took the lead off the spark plug, and as he put it back again, it caused the spark.
And landed
outside the engine, and then it went up.
God,
and,
that's an explosion waiting to happen.
Well, unfortunately, he had the foresight to go and move the petrol tank, which is basically just sat in the boat. So he moved that, and then a passerby went, "Oh, you're in trouble!" And amazingly,
yeah, thanks, mate.
Amazingly, they managed to put it out with a hose, which water's not the right thing to put out.
Not for a fuel fire, yeah.
No, so if you want a top tip, a fire stick is the thing to have because they're nice and small and they'll put anything out.
A fire stick?
Yeah, it's like a big match. It's got two ends. You take both ends off and you strike one against the other and then it just spurts out fire, putting out stuff.
Interesting.
Very good. They're not cheap. I just bought one for the camper van which will do 100 seconds of fire putting out, which is much more than any fire extinguisher we've had.
Yeah,
and it will do anything: electrical, oil, petrol, camping chair. You name it. Talking about the water, have you heard of square waves?
No, but that can't be a thing.
It is a thing.
No, it can't be.
No, it is. It is definitely a thing. And interestingly, we've been to the place where they're most likely to occur, which is near La Rochelle in France.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it happens when there's two weather systems colliding, and the sea looks like a chessboard.
That's
You've got
mad.
little ridges. It is absolutely mad. And what they're saying is if you get stuck in there, you're in a lot of trouble because it's very difficult to get out.
Yeah, because I bet it's pushing from all directions, really.
Well, to create square waves, it's got to be a bit strange, isn't it? Because you've almost got equal forces in two different directions. So I'll post a picture I'll nick one for the sun and put it on the socials because
that is
it's an
crazy.
Amazing sight. It is.
That is not what I was expecting it to look like.
There's one further down which is actually a little bit more concerning because you can see an eddy current almost in the water, which is the things that can pull you down if you're swimming, and you're not going to survive that very well. But whether it's a common sight or not, I don't know. But apparently, according to The Sun, tourists flock to the French island to see the strange sight.
Well, as long as they're going to look and not try and swim in, then they're fine.
I would have thought so. The oddity is we've been to that island and we swum on that beach. So, and it was quite... Well, I think the weather was coming in one direction. It was quite rough at the time. That was many, many years ago. Anyway, talking of travel, you've got some sweets from a trip Duck Boy's just finished.
Yes, Duck Boy's just been in New York. And
very nice.
I did say I didn't want any gifts, but he knows better than to not actually get me any gifts.
Quite. The boy's not a fool.
The boy's not a fool. So he got me a New York City jumper that's really cute, but he also bought me back some snacks. And that is what I want in my life, just the snacks.
Very wise.
So The first thing he got me was animal crackers, which I've heard of, but I've never had in my life, because they're American, probably. But I have been to America.
Are they covered with chocolate on one side?
No, they're not. That's what we have as like animal biscuits. They're not. They're literally animal crackers, Barnum's, and a big old packet.
Yeah, that is a big old packet.
Yeah.
So Barnum's presumably was the circus man, wasn't he?
Yeah, so it's Barnum's animal crackers. Anyway, I have always wanted to try these, so that was actually a good win from him. And the best way to describe them is they taste like lemon-rich teas.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're really... I was very impressed. They're really, really tasty. And they're obviously in animal shapes. They're very, like, well-defined animals. Let me see if I can find one for you, actually. You might want to edit out this rustling, though.
Oh, maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Oh, I saw Orange Marshal 2 over the weekend.
Yes.
And he was very impressed with this squirrel attack.
It fully took my attention away, that did.
I did tell him I had to edit quite a bit out.
Yeah, I was looking at it for a really long time. Did I ever actually send you the pictures of that?
No, you didn't. No.
I will, because he's like hanging on the side. Anyway, we won't talk about the squirrel again. We're talking about the animal crackers.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell what this is?
That looks like... It's sort of a cross between an elephant and a hippo.
It's an elephant, yeah. So they taste like lemon-rich teas, really good. So then I thought, I wonder what's in them, because I see online quite a lot videos of people comparing what's in American food to like the same item, but in the UK. Yeah. And the differences in ingredients are a bit mad. So the first ingredient is unbleached enriched flour.
Oh, unbleached is good.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, okay. I was like, unbleached, at least it's not bleached. So that was, I guess, a positive because it's not got bleach in it. And then a whole load of stuff explaining what enriched flour is.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's it enriched with?
So it's wheat flour, reduced iron.
Reduced iron?
Yeah. Thiamine, the fact I can't say it worries me. Thiamine monotrate. Vitamin B.
That doesn't sound like fun. Oh, vitamin B is good.
Yeah. Folic acid.
That's probably good.
But then the other things, and what caught my eye is it says good source of calcium on the bottom. So I was like, there's going to be milk in there somewhere.
You would think.
Yes. Reading through the ingredients, there's calcium carbonate. Then in brackets of that, source of calcium.
Oh.
So there's no actual milk in it. No lemon, even though it tastes like lemon. But there is artificial flavouring, but it doesn't tell you what flavouring. So I assume that's come from that. So anyway, and it also contains bioengineered food ingredients.
I hate to think what that could be.
So I've been eating them. I ate quite a few yesterday, and I will like to confirm, I have a funny tummy today. So...
Oh, that's not so good.
Not so good. But then... one of my favourite is like Twizzlers. So it's like strawberry flavoured licoricey things.
Oh, okay.
They're similar to a red vine, and I know they have them sometimes on the Big Bang where they drink out of them. They bite the ends off and then drink through them. They're one of Sheldon's favourites. So then I thought, look at the ingredients on these, because I get these here quite a lot. And the first ingredient is enriched wheat flour.
Oh. Unbleached.
But it's not unbleached.
It's not unbleached, it's bleached.
I was like, oh God, so now I'm definitely eating bleached wheat flour, I presume, because it doesn't specify that it's unbleached like the other one does.
I think what we can say, listeners, is basically don't eat sweets or biscuits.
From America.
Well, it'd be interesting to do a comparison with the ingredients for similar stuff
items.
Here. Talking of food, I was a restaurant recently. It was the Everyman restaurant. And I noticed they have to put the calorie count on food now. And it's interesting because the food that you think would be fewer calories, sometimes it's quite high.
Yeah. I see a lot of that on nutritionist pages talking about diets and things. Actually, sometimes dieting food, if you're having a cheat day, you can still keep your calories down, but having your little treats.
Yeah, but the thing that bothers me is, you go say there's superfood salad, for example, which tends to be quite high, and I suspect it's high because it has something like avocado in it, which is relatively high in calories, but it's extremely good for you.
Yes.
So you go, oh, no, look, the burger's less.
I'll have the burger. Yeah.
Fewer calories, I'll have the burger. Mm-hmm. But actually, the superfood salad will be nutritionally better for you because it's got stuff in it that's good for you rather than the burger, which isn't quite as good for you. I'm not
just lower in calories.
I'm not dissing meat or anything, but I would have said the superfood salad, something that's got lots of different coloured food in it, is going to be more nutritional beneficial to you than something that hasn't.
Yeah. For a few reasons, I don't agree that restaurants should put calories on their menus.
I think for the number one reason for me is it causes guilt.
Yes. And also causes lots of issues for people with mental health issues.
Yeah, I think it's a very bad idea. And I don't know. Is there an advantage in it?
Well, the reason they do it is they're trying to reduce obesity across the line. But actually, from the point you just said, they're going to then pick a burger which actually isn't nutritionally good for them. It's
not as good for that. I'm not suggesting that meat is not good for you, because I know, the whole vegan movement and all sorts of malarkey to do with farmers are now evil. I don't consider that to be the case at all.
No. But a burger and chips over a salad isn't as good, as nutritionally good for you.
No, you can't compare the calories on them because they are different foods. Yeah, so I think we're both in favour of removing those.
We are, yes, we agree. We agree on that one.
I think if you try and make a decision like that based on a single metric, it's bound to be the wrong metric. And I think that's a very good case in point, where if you're deciding what to eat based purely on the number of calories, it's not the right thing to do.
No.
And I see it time and time again, and I'm seeing it at the moment where projects I'm working on, they say, well, it's going very slowly, so we'll throw more people at it, so it will speed up. Well, it's not going to speed up for another 3 months because somebody has to bring those people up to speed.
Train them, make sure they know what they're doing.
And while you're doing that, you can't be pushing work through. So too much focus on simple to calculate metrics is the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But we've spoken about that in the past. Yes. Anyway, in better news.
Yes.
In better news, in Alabama, a 2.5-year-old bloodhound was let out for a pee and accidentally joined a half marathon and came 7th.
Good work.
Yes, very good work.
Did the human running after it come 8th?
I don't know. I think she just slipped away, to be honest, and spotted the people running and just joined in.
Oh, and it looks like it's having the best time.
It does, doesn't it? It really does. Presumably it's full of lots of smells. Yeah, really, really nice looking dog.
It's like, all these people are running with me. Yay!
Yeah, and they even gave her a medal, which is brilliant.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, so that's a lovely bloodhound called Ludovine. Ludovine? Very strange name, but I always think when you name a pet, you have to imagine standing in the park shouting at it. Yeah, so some friends of ours renamed their cats because of that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, well, it was Anthony and Cleopatra they decided to name the cats, and then discovered next door neighbour's name was Anthony.
So that every time they were shouting for the cat.
Yes. So, have you got a Lippy top tip?
I do have a Lippy top tip, yes.
Excellent.
I did kind of briefly mention it though. So,
did you?
Yes.
Oh, well, I've forgotten.
So my Lippy top tip this week is that if your partner tells you they don't want something, mainly a snack or like something from a shop, get it anyway. Just get something anyway.
Oh, okay. So I said to you that I don't want any birthday presents. So what have you bought me then?
You're not my partner. So.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
Easy.
I said the same to wife of Grumpy, so I'm expecting.
Well, I can't speak for wife of Grumpy. She may.
We've had a no present rule for a number of years now.
Yes, which actually never seems to ever happen. You always get each other presents. Really?
I don't know. No, it doesn't happen. Sorry, it does happen, rather. I think the first year there was I know I said I wasn't going to buy you a present, but I bought you these, which I got.
We're trying to introduce that rule, but no present, just a budget for the presents.
That's a very good idea.
Especially with the wedding, because we're saving, is one reason. The second reason is Duck Boy likes to buy stuff and like useless stuff. And I'm like opening half these things like, when would I ever use this?
Oh, like, why you use this stuff?
Yeah, like cactus magnets. We don't have anything magnetic to stick them to because our fridge door is attached to the cupboard door.
Yes.
So I have nothing magnetic to put them on.
Yes, that does make it a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Now, my fun fact is a nautical one. There's a bit of a nautical theme through
this week's episode. Water.
Purely by chance. No planning's got into that whatsoever. No. Anyway, New Zealand dolphin called Pelorus Jack became famous for escorting and guiding ships out of the French Pass, a notoriously dangerous channel used by ships, presumably somewhere near New Zealand. For 24 years, between 1888 and 1912, it helped sea vessels travel safely, so much so that ships would wait for its arrival. When a passing ship wounded him, New Zealand passed a law to protect him.
Ooh.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whales are very clever.
They are very clever.
I think sea creatures generally.
I really want to know what the first person that it escorted thought. It must have been like, what on earth is this whale doing?
Well, why would you follow a whale? Or maybe they happened to follow it because they knew where they were going and went, ooh, the whale knows where it's going as well.
It's a dolphin, isn't it?
Oh, it's a dolphin. It's been a long week and it's only Tuesday. Dolphins are quite clever as well as whales.
Dolphins are super clever, yeah.
I think whales are more clever. I'm going to go now. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Bye.